Let's take a look at exercise 724, in which we're going to factor receivables without recourse. Factoring receivables means selling the receivables. Here further we are saying we want to sell it without recourse, which means we don't want to have any problems with customers who don't pay up later on. So here we have Mountain High Ice Cream that transferred 60,000 of accounts receivable to Prudential. The transfer was made without recourse. Prudential remits 90% of the factored amount and retains 10%. So of this 60,000, 90% will be given immediately, 10%. We'll see what happens to that. When the bank collects the receivables, it will remit the amount, the retained amount, which Mountain High estimates to have only a fair value of $5,000, but they're also going to charge a 2% fee. And that 2% is going to be on the factored amount, that's the 60,000, not the 10% that's being retained. So let's take a look at how we'll do the journal entry. Let's start with writing down the date. I'm getting cash right now, cash debit. I'm giving up my accounts receivable. So those two I know for sure. I'm giving up $60,000 of accounts receivable. So I take them off my books, I'm selling it. Right now I'm getting 10% of that. Sorry, 90%. 10% is being retained. So I'm getting 90%. So 90% of 60,000 is 54,000. I'm getting that. Now, I have to pay a fee, 2% of this 60,000. And then we'll also see that remaining 6,000, 60 minus 54 is 6,000. What's going to happen with that? So let's start out by calculating the fees. The fees we know is 60,000 times 2%. That's the fees. Now that remaining accounts receivable, $6,000. Again, remember, of the 60, they gave me 54, 10% they retained. My book value is 6,000, which means in my books it's 6,000. But I think only 5,000 is going to be realized, which means I have this $1,000 in receivables that I am not confident I'm going to get. Well, I don't get it, which means the bank doesn't get it. So this is basically an estimated loss. These are going to be bad debts, but they're no longer my debts, so it's a loss for me. Okay, so my total loss is going to be 2,200. So I have a loss on sale of receivables, 2,200. How much do I think I'm going to get from the bank? 3,800. I should get 6,000 from them. 6,000 minus 1,200 is 4,800. That's how much I should get from them. However, I'm not confident of getting 4,800 because of the $1,000 potential loss. So I'm saying I'll only get 3,800 from them. That 1,000 that I'm not going to get from them, right away I'm going to call it a loss because I already know more likely than not it's going to be a loss. So this is factoring of receivables without recourse when the bank says they want to retain something as a backup. So with that, we'll move on to the next exercise.